Lately I've been feeling things change. We've been working hard, no sleep, get it every day. And I swear that we ain't stopping till we pay. Yeah, the pressure on, gotta make it work, triple play, yeah.
This is Triple Play Fantasy Basketball. I'm your host, Coach James Lewis. On the other end is host Coach Doc Eric Mendelson, full government to be disclosed. Just as an intro, we catch up. We talk about fantasy basketball, but we started as a pod where we talked about everything NBA, and the offseason is just too exhilarating not to touch base. And it's been a while since the championship fantasy basketball, and we have a lot built up. There's a lot. The NBA offseason is the most exciting offseason of any sports, if you ask me. Just a little background. I'm from the DMV area. I'm stationed out here in Baltimore County. I've coached middle school, high school basketball, and I've seen players come and go. Some of my kids that I've coached are playing D1 basketball these days. I could shout them out, and that's kind of just where my perspective is. But we're here to talk about off-season basketball. On the other end, Doc Mendelson, who grinds my gears these days over text messages, but it's good to see face to face and just talk some basketball.
James,
what up, Doc?
James, there you go. That's kind of your catch line. You're making it seem like you're a boomer. In my days, I've seen players come and go. You're like a guy sitting on a rocking chair on his front porch, reminiscing about.
Well, that is what I'm doing. I said cut you off, but you see Cameron Boozer, and I'm like Carlos Boozer. I remember him back in my day because Dan Klink was up there for the ESPYs of high school athlete of the year, and he's my former. He played on my team. In 7th grade, he had the highest points per game. But Dan Klink going to North Carolina for soccer, he was right there next to Cameron Boozer. He said he was Chills. Anyways.
There we go. Another line. Another James line, Chills. James, it's been too long, though. It's good to be back. I don't have nearly the background as James. I play basketball, and I enjoy watching it and betting on it. That's my extent.
We mix. We're like a little mismatch team. He's into the betting know-it-all. I dive deep. I start at the high school level with these players. Kevin Durant I played against. Here we go. Toot my own horn again. But I played against Kevin Durant in Rockville, the summer league. He played for Montrose Christian. I played for Richard Montgomery. He got moved. I don't know if you heard about it. He's on the Rockets now. What say you,
Wait,
Doc?
somebody bet him to go to the Rockets.
Yes, sir.
Once the first game of NBA hits and he steps floor on that Rockets court, baby, get a nice little paycheck.
So how does this change the trajectory of the league? Do you like it? Do you love it? Do you hate it? In between? What say you?
I mean, I love it for Houston. And the reason I bet it, I think it made a lot of sense for everybody. For Phoenix, they tried to move him last season. Obviously, KD wasn't happy, and we knew he was going to be moved to some extent. So Phoenix now lost a little bit of leverage. They also have an awful front office, so they don't always do the best deals. They were a 2 seed, and they lost to the 7 seed Golden State Warriors. And I know Golden State, once they got Jimmy Butler, did not play like a 7 seed. But I think the thing that Houston lacked was a go-to scorer. And I think Jalen Green scored 37, 38 the second game, but was basically a no-show through the series. Mm-hmm. He has a bad contract in my mind that they were able to get out of. Kevin Durant, still a 50, 40, 90 guy. This is where he's going to finish his career. Played his college ball at Houston, no state tax. I think this is Houston's all-in attempt. And, you didn't have to give up Amin Thompson. You didn't have to give up Şengün. They have a lot of depth. They can play Reed Shepherd now, Fred VanVleet. That's a good team. And they were able to retool quickly, moving on from Harden and getting all those assets.
I think they're the biggest threat to Oklahoma City Thunder repeat on paper, just to start things. Kevin Durant, when you mentioned he finished his career here, I don't know. Just because he's Kevin Durant and he just loves basketball so much. I could see him playing into his early 40s. I mean, it's a new NBA. We see what LeBron is right now.
This contract is going to take him to 40.
Yeah. I mean, LeBron, like I said, LeBron is 40 and Kevin Durant will always be able to shoot the basketball. Anyways, let's talk about their team this year, and hopefully Reed Shepherd gets a little bit more of an opportunity. He balled out last year in the summer league. This year, summer league, he's hooping. I mean, he just seems like a perfect fit next to Amen Thompson and what they're doing, and hopefully he'll get a little bit of more of an opportunity now that Jalen Green is out. They add Dory Finney-Smith. They add Click coming back. I mean, they
didn't have to give up Tari Eason. They have a versatile team. Obviously, Şengün slows it down a little bit, but they didn't have to give up Jabari Smith. They have a team that's perimeter shooters, long wingspans, good defenders.
Yeah, they have it all, and they could take an injury hit throughout the season. And if they're loaded and Kevin Durant is healthy come playoff time, he could be the perfect piece that pushes them over the edge. So I love the move for them. They still kept some of their young assets, like you mentioned. Amen Thompson, who's untouchable, but like Tari Eason, Reed Shepherd, Şengün is still there. Who knows if Giannis really gets disgruntled and they push all their chips and do that down the road. But right now they are championship built, and they are versatile, and they can do so many different lineups at you. So Houston is very exciting. They're probably the winners of the summer. Other big moves: Desmond Bane to the Magic, 4 first-round picks. A lot to give up, but they needed shooting, and he's one of the top shooters in the NBA. What say you? And does this move Orlando into an Eastern Conference possible winner?
So it's interesting, James. Part of the reason why they had to give up so much was for Memphis to take on KCP's contract. And I said this last year when KCP got signed, that was one of the worst free agent signings for a couple reasons. One, Orlando wasn't at that point where they were one player away from making a significant run. I think they had time to be patient. I think they overpaid for KCP, who was coming off a good playoff run with Denver. And then ultimately it didn't work out. They needed shooting. And so that's part of the reason why I think this overpays, because the Magic front office wasn't patient. If they had waited and then made their move, they might have not had to give up as much for Desmond Bane. And I'm a Desmond Bane guy myself. I commend Orlando for going all in. I think this is what you're seeing with a couple teams in the Eastern Conference, because Jason Tatum's going to be out the entire season. And now we've seen the Celtics kind of regroup. Tyrese Halliburton's going to be out the entire season. Giannis is starting with Milwaukee, I presume, but he might not end there. And Milwaukee really didn't do much to get better. I know they added Miles Turner, and we'll talk about that. The East is essentially wide open. I think obviously the Cavaliers are the favorite coming out. The Knicks will be up there, but the Knicks didn't really add anything. I know they're getting a new coach, but they don't have depth, and they're running the same team back. So I think
Jordan Clarkson, Yerson Yabusele, they don't do
Yabusele
at all.
Jordan Clarkson, he's an empty calories ball hog.
Oh my God. Okay.
Dude, he's an empty calories ball hog.
It's so funny because you're gonna take the quote.
Yeah.
Our guy,
shout
and
out
use it
Zach
on him.
Lowe or whatever. That's an all.
I mean, he's a scorer though. Like, he is very potent. He's a 6 man weapon that is, I think, an upgrade on like a Deuce McBride as far as like a scorer option. They've been known to give the ball to Jalen Brunson a lot. Like, he can still get things done in the shot clock, and he's a scorer, man. Like, he's not, 6th man of the year, like, type of representative, basically annually. Like, that's not a bad player to have on the team.
He's solid. I'm not excited about, like, he doesn't move the needle for me as much as Yabusele does. And both of them don't really move it for me either way. I mean, Jordan Clarkson averaged 16 points per game last year on 40% shooting, 36% from 3, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Like, I mean, that's fine. He's going into age 34. But I don't.
But a team that couldn't play more than 7 players. I know this was still with Tibbs, and now they have Mike Brown in. But I think that it just adds up a little bit of punch offensively, especially in the half court when they kind of needed a little help. And hopefully this takes down on Brunson's minutes, and they can,
Yeah.
just kind of weigh in on him a little bit, especially in the regular season.
They were hamstrung based on how much they gave up for Bridges and the contracts they doled out. So they couldn't really, I mean, kudos to them because I do like Clarkson and Yabusele for what their constraints allowed them to do. I just don't think it moves them into the needle where they're the favorite in the East and they're still pretty thin at depth.
I think I changed your tune a little bit on them. I mean, but like you mentioned,
if they have an injury, if they have an injury to any starter, they're done. And which might happen because of how much Tibbs grinds his guys. His guys. But I mean, that's why I like what Orlando did. If you're going to go all in, do it at a time where others are down.
I think Apollo still has a step to take. Franz, he just has his shooting woes, but like he's, a top 30 player in this NBA. So if they can take a bigger leap, I think that the center position is still kind of something that they wish was a little bit stronger. But all around, this is a better team. And then you add Tyus Jones as a backup point guard running the ship. And a lot depends on the health of that team and Jalen Suggs. But the Eastern Conference is actually very interesting, although it looks like the Western Conference is better than them,
Jason,
more so than it's ever had.
James, let me ask you, on the other side, if you're the Grizzlies, are you ready to go full rebuild now?
No, they're not, and they're not going to. No.
Should they though?
No, and they're not going to.
Wait. If there's a difference between they're not going to and is it the right thing? Would it be the right thing to do?
All right. Well, I feel like both of those ideas are convoluted because you kind of know that, or at least I have a feeling that they're not going to move on from Ja Morant, and they've obviously penciled in, Triple J to this large extension. They're not going to do that, and they've won more games than they've lost with Ja Morant on the court, and they're just hoping that that's sustainable. And not like KCP had a bad year last year, but I think they still have pieces. And they have young pieces that are growing that they can't do a full rebuild. Well,
oh my gosh, I'm on the complete other side. Okay, it took us 12 minutes to get our first disagreement. It was a little bit longer than I expected. I think Memphis should go full rebuild.
They're not doing it. They got Ty Jerome in the back and in the offseason.
James,
Coward looks promising.
How many teams?
Jalen Wells comes back.
How many teams in the Western Conference?
Gigi
how
Jackson,
many teams in the Western Conference are tanking right now? How many? Not even the Pelicans are tanking. The Jazz aren't tanking.
This team doesn't tank. So I agree to disagree.
But it's an opportunity to have a full rebuild where all the other teams are trying to kill each other.
Well, you can be like, okay, Chicago, go all in and just rebuild entirely, which they've taken a mini step to that, but they still.
If you're comparing them to Chicago, that's a poverty franchise.
No, I'm comparing them to Chicago in the way that you're telling a team to go all in. Chicago should have gone on all in and went complete rebuild, but they haven't done that. I don't think Memphis is in the same spot. Let me be clear about that. Like, no, they're not. We disagree on this.
They've made the playoffs once. They were a 2 seed and they got bounced. Ja Morant is one more
first rounds
away.
They got 4 first rounds for Desmond and Bane.
Yeah, that's a great start to a rebuild. Now imagine what you could get for Ja and Jaren Jackson Jr. Look at what OKC did. OKC got like 12 first rounders, and then they won a championship 5 years later.
I'm not giving up on Ja Morant when he's at one of his low points as far as
that's fair. That's fair.
People can give up for him. And I've seen that man put up, what was it, like 50 in the playoffs, 45? He's a dog.
He puts up one more video of him with a gun and his NBA career is over and you get nothing for him.
He's a young man maturing. Like he made
Bro, what?
He didn't even fire it. He didn't even shoot it. Like, relax.
You're making excuses.
Okay, I'd rather deal with that situation than say like Zion Williamson who just can't get his weight right.
Wait. That could be the funniest 1-2 ever that are busts just because they're like kind of knuckleheads. And by kind of, I mean very much knuckleheads. Like they're very talented, but they just don't care about basketball. That'd be like such a wild spin on that draft class.
All right. I think this is a good transition. as I mentioned, Zion, because we're gonna zag a little bit here and talk about one of the worst franchises in basketball, and Joe Dumars takes over as GM, and like he completely sets back the franchise
Bro,
100%
wait.
within 2 seconds.
Can I just say,
go ahead.
Joe Dumars is the Doc Rivers of general managers. Joe Dumars got the Pistons a 2004 NBA title and has now been an executive for 20 years after that. Doc Rivers got one coaching title in 2008 and still gets head coaching job 17 years later. And the consensus is that they suck.
So their moves, I think there's like winners and losers of this offseason. I think this is a clear loser here. I like Derek Queen. Let's just be clear. But I wouldn't have gave up the asset, go up 10 picks to go get him.
Unprotected first.
I would have just been better off just taking him with the Fears pick. I think Fears is a work in progress. I like his shifting, and I like he's like electrifying in a way, but he's gonna be so inefficient. I think that's not gonna pan out in the future. And yeah, you don't never know what's gonna happen with players, but my first impression of him is like, yeah, it looks cool in the highlights, but I don't think this is a winning player. Then you already have the DeJounte Murray, who probably won't play this year with that Achilles situation. You trade for Jordan Poole, which is a bad contract. Great move by Washington. We'll get to them in a little bit. Poor Trey Murphy III, who's actually a really, really good NBA player, stuck in that bum team. Herb Jones, good contract signing. I like that. But then you sign Looney, head scratcher. I don't know what this team is doing, but I think that they will be at the bottom of the Western Conference. And then guess what? That pick goes to Atlanta next year.
You know, it's funny. This is how you know a trade is really bad. Atlanta was like, wait, there's no way. And they like triple checked and they're like, we are just making sure this is your offer. And they were like, yeah. And they're like, oh, the deal. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know what New Orleans is doing. Like, I understand getting Jordan Poole, you know, a slight upgrade, especially if Murray isn't there and McCollum's on an expiring deal. But this team was like bottom 3 in the West last year. And I know they had injuries and if they have a fully healthy team, but like there's no identity that they have. They're in cap hell. They don't have draft picks. The West is loaded right now. They would have been better off. And they traded Brandon Ingram last year. They would have been better off just fully rebuilding, getting rid of McCollum, seeing if anybody would take on Murray. If not, you keep him till next year, let the trade value go up.
If they get themselves into that business, I think that if Zion starts off the year and he is really, really crushing it and is healthy, I think you move on from, because I don't think him and a Derek Queen pairing works. And they really love Derek Queen, and I actually like Derek Queen a lot.
I do too.
Maybe you start to rebuild with, if Zion's playing really well, somebody's ready to give up some assets. And I think the Zion in New Orleans days, like, for better or worse,
I don't know, James. Is anybody going to take that contract?
There's somebody might. I mean, especially when he plays well, he's basically a top 10 player in the NBA.
James,
and it is breathtaking.
He got 3 years, $125 million, and a pending rape charge on that contract. Who's going to take that? Like, realistically, which team was like, hey, we're a Zion Williamson away from competing?
Which leads me to, do we go to the Atlanta direction or Washington? Let's go.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's easier said than done being like, oh, we have to flip him, because it's going to be something for that team just to take on that salary alone. You're not going to get the assets back from Zion.
Yeah, head scratchers all along with New Orleans. I think Atlanta,
you and I could be better GMs than Joe Dumars. I just want to say that.
That's fair. That's fair. I'd have to agree with that. But Atlanta goes and gets Porzingis, who you've never been really a big fan of, but he did help the Boston Celtics win an NBA championship. Jalen, you really, from what I know from you,
I mean, he's okay. He's fine.
Yeah.
He's not. He wasn't a max player worth. I think it all comes down to like how much you getting paid and what's your position on the team.
Jalen Johnson comes back, and he's one of the best young underrated players in the NBA. Dyson Daniels, somebody averaging 3 steals a game, swipes. But they solidify some backcourt depth with Luke Kennard, which is maybe the best catch and shoot 3-point shooter. He flashes a little bit of playmaking as well. And then you got Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who's another dog on defense. You get Daniels out of there, you put him in, or you match them together.
Yeah.
And then
take Trey out.
And this could be the Trey make it or break it year. But I do like him within this roster, and he's got a lot of help defensively. Reece Shay's a good defender too, and Reece Shay was actually a lot better than I anticipated. I think he takes another step. Okongwu gets his opportunity with Clint Capella completely out the building, and I think that him and KP actually pair very well. I think Atlanta is going to take a big jump, and I think that they could be a top 4 or 5 team in the Eastern Conference and really have a chance.
I think Atlanta's a dark horse to make the finals. I think their division is. I think the division is going to come down to either the Rockets or the Hawks. But I look at the Hawks roster, and that's deep. And
you said the Rockets or the Hawks?
Oh, Hawks or Magic. Sorry.
Okay. All right.
Sorry. They have a lot of guys that great defenders. Daniels, Shai, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. They can shoot. Trae Young's a good facilitator, but if he's getting picked on defense, you can go a little bit larger and take him out. I mean, they have depth, and I think you'd mentioned it also. Like they finally got rid of Capella. I think that was blocking Okongwu, and they got a relatively new front office in there. Their old front office was like people in their 20s in Landry Fields. So it looks like a little bit more competent, and they didn't have to give up too much asset-wise. And they got that unprotected first for Derek Queen. They had to pay Nickeil Alexander-Walker, but they didn't have to give up a lot of assets to get these guys.
Since we're here in the Eastern Conference, it is our Wizards time. To talk about things we like and what seemingly looks like a promising franchise right now. They're going to be really bad. Things that I like. I like the vets. I like bringing in CJ McCollum. I think in fantasy statistically, especially at the beginning of the year, he might really stand out. Chris Middleton, you don't know, but good vet in the building to help. The front court doesn't really have a lot outside of Sarr. Sarr shows flashes of really being a good defensive player. You got Bilal Coulibaly, plays both ends, more so, a defensive strength. Bub Carrington. Really like Trey Johnson. I think they really hit on this pick at 6. And in most drafts, I think he's your 3rd overall pick. But this draft was so good that he fell to 6. And his length, he looked like he just has it all in the summer league, and he just plays efficient. He's known as like a jacker, but he's just like a really good shooter. I think he makes a lot of shots on 3 levels. I really like Trey Johnson and his trajectory for the future.
Oh my gosh, James, you and I have struggled as Wizards fans. Like we've had Ernie Grunfeld, who was awful, Tommy Shepard, who was slightly better. The Wizards haven't been in this good of a cap situation. Now you talk about the 3 vets: McCollum, Middleton, Marcus Smart, going to make a combined $84 million this year, and then they're off the books. The Wizards going into next season are projected to have $100 million in cap space. That is, but the only team that could have rivaled us was Brooklyn if they didn't do anything. So the Wizards are going
dumb shit.
Yeah, and so the Wizards are going to be in cap heaven, which means they can take on bad contracts for either more draft picks, or we can offer guys more money in free agency than any other team. Love what Will Dawkins and Michael Winger are doing. They're also taking a lot of chances on guys. Like for all of the flipping we've done for 2nd-round picks, we turned 2 2nd-round picks into Cam Whitmore, who's a really efficient scorer. He doesn't pass the ball, but
he's going to get an opportunity.
He's going to get an opportunity
to see what he really can do. I know he doesn't pass the ball, but he's very physical. And I mean, you see the Wizards loading up with all these wing players, and guess what? Some of them are going to hit. Some of them are not, but they're loading up. Yeah,
I think
like it.
I think Keyshawn George is going to be a good building block also. He supposedly grew an inch this summer from 6'7" to 6'8". They said he could grow as tall as 6'10". He was starting to get it, improving his rebounding at the end of the year. He's versatile, seems to have a good head on his shoulders. I love what the Wizards are doing. I feel like the Wizards are going to win a championship with this front office that we have. It might be 7 years down the road.
That's
James,
crazy.
what the second apron has done is that you essentially have to have it places more importance on having a good general manager and front office. And if you don't,
before you said the word championship, before that ever happens, they need a star and they need to get a top 3 draft pick in the 2026 draft. We can't get screwed with 6. I like Trey Johnson, but they need a star. And there are 3 of them in Peterson, Adebayo, and Boozer in next year's draft, but they need a top 3 pick next year. Reward the losers. There's still going to be a losing team, but they need one of those 3 guys if they have any chance at ever even thinking about the C word.
That's fair. That's fair. But their process is in the right place. You know, we've talked about a couple teams.
I agree with that.
Yeah. We talked about, you know, the Pelicans, like, what are they doing? Even the Hawks, we're like, oh, the Hawks could make some noise, but we're not throwing them out as championship contenders. We're not like, oh, they could win it all. You put that for a few teams. And then you look at what the Wizards are doing. Their front office is along the lines with the Thunder, with the Spurs, teams that are actually going about the new season, break up their championship team within a year or two because they weren't constructed right with this CBA.
I don't want to spend too much time on the bottom feeders, but it does make me think about another team that I think is doing all the right things. Not all the right things, but a lot of the right things, and that's Charlotte.
No.
I like what Charlotte's doing a lot.
Explain.
I love the Con Knipple pick.
Oh no, God awful.
God awful? Have you seen him play
basketball? God parentheses
solid,
or God comma awful.
Liam McNeely is nice too. Like, I mean, they'll have their offensive struggles, but I like both of those guys going forward. And then of course you got Brandon Miller and then LaMelo Ball that plays like, you know, there's 10,000 chicks in the stands and he shows out. Maybe he can be healthy, but I like their moves. And obviously there's something wrong with Mark Williams that they really wanted to get rid of him. There's something wrong with him physically. I don't know if he'll stand the test of time. I don't know if this is like an Andrew Bynum's type of thing where it's like he's a big man that's going to break down soon, but they've traded, they've built some assets, and I think McNeely's going to be a good pro for a long time. I really like Con Knipple. Like the fact that you're like low on him is
I think he's shocking. A floor guy. I think he's a floor guy. I think this is a classic Hornets move where they took someone that was local that they think will sell tickets rather than someone that was better like Ace Bailey or Trey Johnson. They did it with Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. You know, they took number 2.
I got a lot of questions about Ace Bailey. The character speaks a lot of volumes to me.
I mean, but Ace Bailey would have fit in with the character concerns on all the Hornets.
Exactly. That would bring them down. It would be like, you know.
Yeah, but no, it fits with the
2000 Wizards. You know what I mean? Like, don't do that. Like,
all right, James. Second disagreement we have about the Hornets.
I like to disagree.
I think the Hornets will be lucky to make the playoffs in a sucky Eastern Conference.
Okay, I don't think that they'll make the playoffs either. It's not.
Oh, so what you like what they're doing? And
yes, in the same way the Wizards are. They're not setting themselves back. They're just building assets.
Wait. But the only difference is the Wizards are going to have $100 million in cap space, and the Hornets are tied down with LaMelo, with Bridges. They're probably going to pay Brandon
Bridges
Miller.
is not even on a bad contract. He's on a very good contract.
What do you think? What do you think his contract is?
He's got a really good contract. It's like, I don't know, 18 mil.
No. Next 2 years he's making 47 mil. So an average of 23.5.
Yeah, that's not bad for a player like
All right, guess what LaMelo Ball's rest of his contract is?
A lot. He's damn good. Moving on. So Eastern Conference, like, who do you think is here promising to take a step up? I point to I think Detroit has a window here. Cade Cunningham is one of the best young premier players in our league, and I think he still has a step up. You get Jaden Ivey back. Yes, you lose some people, and maybe people don't like the Duncan Robinson contract. He still can shoot the ball and play make a little bit. I think Asar Thompson has a step to take up. I like Ron Holland's grit. Toby Harris looks like he's prime veteran as far as he's providing that leadership. Jalen Duren, you keep him healthy. I think this team is building something, and they're going forward. And Karis LeVert, you replace him. And with whatever happened with Beasley and that.
Oh my gosh, they avoided that contract.
Yeah, they took that contract, they gave it to Karis, and Karis is not a bad pro. Played for first unit, second unit, and
biggest knock with Karis is just staying healthy, and part of it is that he had leukemia. Can't help that. I look at the Eastern Conference by kind of process of elimination. Wizards, Hornets, 76ers have had really bad luck and aren't going to contend this year. I think maybe that's something we could talk about. Nets are bad. I don't know what the Raptors are doing. And now that they fired Masai Ujiri, they're really kind of in a weird stance. Bulls aren't going to do anything. We've talked about the Hawks that are going to be improved. I think the Heat will regress. The Magic, are good. Pistons, I think, are going to take a climb from 6. Bucks, Pacers are going to tank. I think the Eastern Conference is the Cavs for the taking. I think Cavs are in a clear elite.
Whoa. All right, I was with you. You said the Bucks are going to tank?
Bucks are regressing a little bit.
I don't know. I don't see it.
The Bucks will be worse than 48-34 this year.
No, I don't think that they're a worse team.
Bucks are going to be 39-43.
I don't see them as a worse team.
Okay.
I like Cole Anthony. I think Miles Turner is an upgrade from where Brook Lopez has been. And I see Giannis still being, the top 2-3 player in the league. So I think that Milwaukee
that's 3 players
in this whole thing.
That's 3 players, James. Can you name 2 more players on Milwaukee?
Well, they re-signed everybody else that was on the team with Ryan Rollins, Gary Trent Jr.
Kyle Kuzma, you're the wrong person to
Kyle
ask.
Kuzma now with Turner, and it was weird with Kuzma. Kuzma is not a bad player.
He is not a bad player.
They say he built these bad habits in Washington. We watched more Washington games than anyone else. Yes, I think the injuries really hit him because the year before he was nice.
Kyle Kuzma is the product of his environment. If you put him in a good environment, he's going to be a good player.
Although last year that did not work when he got traded mid deadline, but I think with an off season and trying to get more comfortable, that Giannis is coming back and they got to really make a big push, and he does have championship pedigree. I don't think Milwaukee is as bad as what everybody's saying. They still won 48 games last year.
Yeah, because they had Dame for most of the season. They had Kuzma for part of it. Brook Lopez, I know, was bad at spurts, but Brook Lopez is still a floor stretcher, which I think impacts defense. And Miles Turner is an upgrade, but
AJ Green is a nice shooter. They add Gary Harris. I think that Andre Jackson Jr. has some promise. They just play him more. They got Taurean Prince, who's last year was a good 3-point shooter.
So what is their record next season?
I think they win 45, 46 games.
So then they're going to be worse than 48-34.
Okay, but they're going to be a 4-5 seed in the wide open Eastern Conference with the best player in the Eastern Conference.
That's all. If they get any injuries,
with a guy that had 50 points in the NBA Finals, so
they don't
still got a chance with him.
They don't have. You talk about New York's depth. Milwaukee has even worse depth. And can I just say what's really funny about Miles Turner? James, you and I have talked about for years, Indiana has just always floated his name out at the trade deadline. And they're like, nah, we'll sign him to an extension, blah, blah, blah.
Uh-huh.
This is where you felt like Miles Turner had the most security staying in Indiana, going to Game 7 of the finals, and then he leaves. This is just so ironic.
Yeah. Well, and I think Indiana had a decision to make with Tyrese Halliburton going down. They don't have a chance without him to contend in Eastern Conference when they were looking like they might be the favorites. With that, you have to change your mindset with this apron shit, and you're seeing it league round with you see Boston, taking a big step, and 5 years ago, NBA, like they wouldn't have made these decisions. They wouldn't have to give up on everybody. They would just have waited out the season without Jason Tatum.
Hence why having a good general manager is important in this CBA.
We've done a lot of Eastern Conference. I think I like how you kind of did a little rundown there on that. Let's switch out West and let's talk about the most important team based on intrigue around the league, and that's obviously the Los Angeles Lakers. And you put it on our script. You wanted to talk about the LeBron James question mark here. I'll let you start with it.
Well, James, I just want to know, since it's his last year, are you going to cry at all? Like whether it's his last game or whatever. Like,
will you shed a tear? I think we should have a gentleman's bet on whether that's going to happen. I got him playing 2 years. This is not his last year. And yes, he will get the last hurrah. He will do the victory tour. So pencil him in for 2 more seasons.
All right.
So he's going to play into age 42.
I just think it's really weird that he opted into his player option for the Lakers and their Twitter account, or there was no official announcement of it. Like LeBron, it's funny because early in his career, he always took pay cuts, and now he's not taking pay cuts.
And he shouldn't. He didn't need to.
No. James, he's a billionaire. If he wanted to leave the Lakers, or if he wanted to be on a championship contender, he should have not opted into that player option. You can't have it both ways.
I also think that there's a way about how he goes about his business, and that might not have been perceived the best way. He goes and signs the minimum to Cleveland Cavaliers. Does that championship really count the same way? They had the second most wins. They had the most wins in the Eastern Conference. Like, is that a great look? It's a different thing when he signed with Miami, and Miami was, won 27 games or however many they did. Like, that's a different story. Like, he's never done that. And so,
yeah, but
he values his value.
Yeah, but there's a difference between opting into a $52 million and if he really did want to play 2 more years, being like, all right, I'm going to do 2 years, 70, because then that's 35 versus 52. That's a big difference.
Well, who said he got that? Is that reported that was on the table? Like,
but LeBron could have tried to negotiate that. I think it was, are you taking the player option? Yes or no? It's not.
Yeah, hey, but why would he add another year for $20 million? Like when he was second team All-NBA, that just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, but then don't opt into $52 million at 40 years old and then be annoyed where the franchise is going. Do you think he gets traded?
Do I think he gets traded? No. I think he plays it out. I think Los Angeles Lakers have a good roster. Guess what they missed against Minnesota? A center. They have one. Okay. Yeah, a lot of question marks, but the guy is damn talented. And I think that in this environment, he's intrigued and he's going to buy in. Like he's playing with Luka Doncic, who is going to find him. And yeah, he might not be the best rim runner. He's really good in the mid range. He's a really great rebounder. And I think that JJ, yeah, they'll butt heads, but I think that we might see a good side of DeAndre Ayton, which they desperately needed to center, and they felt that need. Dorian Finney-Smith is out. I liked him. I like that, like how he fit perfectly. Like bring in LaRavia. I'm not saying that he's quite as good, but like he's a younger player, and maybe they work with that. You get another year together with Reeves, like that. All that was all brand new, and LeBron James playing, second team All NBA basketball like he did last season, and before the groin injury, he was a rock star. Like you still have a chance. You still have a good nucleus and team, and then you can make a move at the deadline. They still have that first round. They still have the package that they were going to offer for Mark Williams if this is all looking right at the midway point.
I think they're much better on offense. I think they are still a defense. Them in New Orleans might be the 2 worst defensive teams. DeAndre Ayton, not a good defender, not a good rebounder for somebody that should be his.
He is a good rebounder. He's average 10 rebounds a game.
Don't look at the rebounds per game. Look at when he goes up against like centers like Steven Adams and all that. He gets dominated. He's soft. I think it helps on offense, but You can't tell me Luka's a great defender.
He's a good rebounder.
But
LeBron's a good rebounder.
But that's not defense.
Well, and Luka was, a shell of himself in the playoffs. Is the worst probably playoff basketball he's ever played because he was sick and he's obviously hampered with something. LeBron was hurt. So I think that playoff run was a bad matchup without having a center.
It was a bad matchup.
And they were playing damn good basketball going into the playoffs. And yeah, it just kind of all hit at one point, and everybody's going to focus on your last moment of a team. But they were playing, top 10 defensive basketball coming into the playoffs. And that was
but that's because they had Anthony Davis.
No, going into the playoff, they didn't have Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis was.
Okay. I thought you were referring to like earlier in the year, like.
No, I'm talking about at the end of the season. They were top 10 defense going into the playoffs. In the last 2 months of NBA basketball, so they had started figuring it out, and they were winning at a high clip. And look, let's see it. Let's run it out. And in the playoffs, having Reeves and Luka isn't the best playing defense on a primary, but at the same time, stop us on the other end. We got Aiden. So I'm not banging the drum, but they aren't.
They got better. They got better. I think it would be interesting if he got traded to Dallas. Like I saw rumors floated out there, because you'd have to match up contracts.
I think Dallas, being a LeBron guy, that I think that if they make that trade, the one that is thrown out there with Gafford and Washington and the first round pick, I think that pushes Dallas over the edge. But of course, that's a big, huge if. That they all stay healthy. That is Kyrie, that is AD. But if you have Lively, AD,
dude,
LeBron,
tell me that's not
Kyrie.
a way for LeBron. It's like a LeBron reunion to end his career with Anthony Davis, with Kyrie, with Cooper Flag.
Cooper Flag being the 4th-5th option. I think that fits him actually perfectly. And I know he's a rookie, and rookies never make an impact, but that would be the perfect situation. He just gets it all around. I love Cooper Flag on both ends, and what a spectacle that man is. And the Dallas fans, they have something to hang their head on for years to come, and they're gonna be a damn good team without LeBron James. I don't think that's gonna happen. By the way, if it did, that'd be cool.
You can look at teams now, how they are on paper, and obviously once the season starts, once injuries play, once you see how teams mesh, it would be interesting if LeBron starts with the Lakers. It does not look promising. Like, let's say they're a 500-ish team. They're 5 or 6 in the West, but they're not serious contenders. And then if LeBron got traded at the midway point through the season, a team is only taking on, $26 million of that contract rather than 52. And then a trade's a little bit more feasible.
Yeah. I don't.
Do you like what Denver did?
What's that?
You like what Denver did?
I do.
I love what Denver did.
I love what Denver did. I think that they have a chance to win the championship. And
I agree.
The new report this morning, at least from what I saw, was that Valanciunas is excited. Okay, there was a whole controversy about him, going overseas, and they were going to do anyways. If they got him, he's the best backup center that Jokic has ever played with. You get Cam Johnson in, who
Bruce Brown back.
At this point in their career, you add those two players, and then you get Hardaway, who's can really shoot the ball on certain nights, and I really like Denver overall. LeBron probably still has another step to take up. We see what happens with Peyton Watson and Julian Strawther, but having a Valanciunas as somebody, and then Day'Ron Holmes, we get to see him play basketball. So they might have a lot of opportunity to give Jokic some rest. But Cam Johnson has a little bit more playmaking than Michael Porter Jr. He's still almost as good as a catch and shoot player. And then Porter with his injury is they still took the chance to Game 7 with him being hurt that whole time. And we saw how valuable Aaron Gordon is, and he's in his prime. Denver still has a chance, and he's the best player in basketball. So I like Denver. And they got a chance.
Look at their ages too. Jokic is 30, Murray 28, Aaron Gordon 29. Aaron Gordon an old 29. Cam Johnson 29, Christian Braun 24. Tim Hardaway Jr., 33, Bruce Brown, 28. That's a relatively young team. And I like that they're going to have a new coach, a new voice. Calvin Booth is out as general manager. I think they needed a reset. I think mentally they're going to be fresh coming into the season.
A couple other teams to point on when we're talking about the Western Conference. They're so freaking loaded. I've never seen an NBA conference just have this if because of the veteran teams, even though it's a Luka Doncic team, but because LeBron James is on that team, and you think about the Warriors because they have Steph Curry, if he stays healthy. I've never seen a conference this.
I don't know, man. I don't know. The Warriors might be done. Warriors might be done, man.
Okay,
they got no depth.
I don't. What's up with the Al Horford thing? No one knows. But it's been
Kuminga isn't happy and is going to get there. And it's like the writing on the wall. Kuminga is going to get traded before the deadline. Ever since Bob Myers left, they've been a bottom 5 front office.
They were good. Okay, so they were a good team with Jimmy Butler. They got hurt after taking down the 2-seed Houston Rockets. And by they, it's Steph Curry. I mean, you still have Steph Curry, who's a top 10 player all time.
Yeah,
Jimmy Butler, who's a dare I say a top 10 postseason player that I've seen in my lifetime. You get Draymond, who's a top 10 defensive player all time. If you bring in
all 35 and older,
all ifs. I know all ifs, but
that's what I'm saying.
They still got Pods who's coming up. They got Moody. They got Buddy that shows up sometimes.
If there was just playoffs, I would say they had a chance. Of a grind of an 82 game season and then playoffs, I don't think they have a chance.
Yeah, and I get why you're a bit pessimistic on them, and I totally understand it. It would have to be
thanks, James.
All of the moons working together, and I'm the more of the optimist level here. But I'm still a realist. I think it's very an outside chance. I think I think you're a pessimist realist, and I'm an
I am a realist.
Yeah, first, and then the other adjective after.
Let's talk about Clippers. This is all in for the Clippers. If this doesn't work,
we haven't talked about this.
Yeah, if this, I like what they're doing. I like the all-in vets. You're just throwing talent out there. It's like the you just throw it against the wall and you see if it sticks. If this does not work, the Clippers need to blow it up.
Well, I think they're prepared for all that. I don't think they have anybody on contract after what is it, next season or the year or the 27 season to the next 2 years. After that, everyone is off the books. So I think they're preparing for that.
Yeah, Kawhi making $100 million this year or $100 million next 2 years.
Yep.
John Collins player option this year for $26 million. Bradley Beal 2 years. Zubac has 3 years left. 3 years, $57 million. Yeah. This is their all-in year.
Yeah, and on paper they look amazing. If this was NBA 2K, 2020, Harden, Beal, Kawhi, John Collins, Zubac. I think they have a lot of versatility with their lineups they throw out. Batum's still a really good player. Bogdanovic gives you some spark off the bench. Chris Dunn has a resurgence, really good defensive player. Same thing with Derrick Jones Jr. and high flyer. Brook Lopez. You can pair him. You can play him with Zubac. You can play him with Collins. And, Kawhi's not going to play all the games. James Harden's still one of the best point guards in the league orchestrator-wise. Yeah. You don't want to really have them, if they're healthy, matched up in the playoffs. And this is still the same Western Conference that we've mentioned, 8 teams. One rising team, I guess you would say they're rising just because they have one of the most ascending, polarizing players in basketball, Anthony Edwards and the Timberwolves. They lose Nickeil Alexander-Walker, but they re-sign Naz Reid. What say you about them? Do they take a step down? Do they stay stagnant? Or do you see them taking a step up because their best player is one of the best young players in all of basketball?
I see them taking a step down. He's one of the best players, but What else are you looking for Anthony Davis ascension-wise? Are you looking for him to increase his scoring? He was already close to 30 a game. Are you looking for him to shoot better percentages? He's already, shot decent from the field. He has a three-pointer game. He's a good distributor when he wants to be. He's a solid defender.
It's decision making, playmaking, seeing what
but I don't
giving you. I think that part of his growth hasn't get there. Just like kind of like a Jason Tatum coming up is like in year 3. It's like, what else can you see? And guess what? We did see him manage the game a lot better.
But Jason Tatum also had a great team around him. He had Jaylen Brown. He had, people that Drew Holiday that you could depend on for defense. Like Jason Tatum didn't carry them to that championship. And I think they're asking Anthony Edwards to do that. I like Rob Dillingham. I think he's
so that's what okay. So you see them. This is where I disagree with you. You see them taking a step down. I do not. I mean, based on Nickeil Alexander-Walker being gone? I think Terrence Shannon Jr. is due for taking a step up.
Yes.
I love what I've seen him in Summer League and what I heard Alex Rodriguez talking about. He's in the gym more than anyone else on the team because they got, they have watches and things. They have tracking on like how much he's in the gym. He's in the gym. He's ready to take a step up. You got, Dante DiVincenzo coming off the bench is really your 5th starter because Mike Conley, still.
DiVincenzo's end of season announcement, he was like, "Yeah, I feel like I never found my role with the team." Like that to me was not encouraging, and I think you've plateaued your front court with Julius Randle and Rudy Gobert. Like they had good years last year, and Gobert is now 33. Julius Randle is now 30. Like,
I don't see them being
how much are you going to get out of them? They're not getting better. They're probably going to get worse. So that means you're expecting your backcourt, which I said Dillingham, Terrence Shannon Jr., I think are going to be good, but
they still are in the Western Conference Finals. We let's 2 years in a row.
Yeah, and I think that's their ceiling is Western Conference Finals.
So you don't see them getting there again?
No.
This year? Okay.
No. I see them being like a 6 seed and maybe upsetting like a 3 seed, but I don't see them being coming out.
With the what ifs that we just talked about with the Clippers and the Lakers and the Warriors, I could see them losing to any of those teams, but I can also see them dusting all those teams as well.
I could see. I think the Thunder are better. I think the Rockets are better. I think the Nuggets are better.
And then they could fit in right there after there. Or,
based
on the what ifs that we had just talked about. That's what makes the Western Conference so exciting. And then the Mavs are coming too. Yeah,
but potentially the Mavs. Like, I don't know. Mavs are kind of a question mark.
Yeah, especially the whole Kyrie thing.
Like
come back at some
Clippers
point.
are a question mark. Like Clippers healthy, I think would beat Minnesota. I'll say Wolves over the Warriors.
You like Baron Shea? You like what you see from him? So there was their 1st round draft pick, Minnesota. He's the Frenchman, and big guy. Anyways, he blocked like a bunch of picks, a bunch of shots in his debut. He's long. He's very raw, but like I see him kind of being maybe Gobert replacement down the road.
Well, that's what I was saying. He's going to get minutes. So I like that.
What things that we haven't talked about? Losers in the Western Conference.
James, do you think the Spurs should have been more active this offseason?
Nope. Okay. I think they had you know why they had the perfect offseason?
Because they got Dylan Harper at 2.
Because they got Dylan Harper. They got Dylan Harper. They got gifted the 2 pick. And he is a star. I'm all in on Dylan Harper. I don't know necessarily about the fit with him and Fox and everything else they got going on as far as young wise, but San Antonio's a problem. I mean, Wembanyama is a top 10 player. He might be a top 5 by the end of this season. The ceiling there is no ceiling for that guy. Devin Vassell was knocked up most of the last year. You bring back rookie of the year, Stephon Castle. I love Carter Bryant. He looks really good. Like he's gonna fit in long-term fit.
Carter Bryant, a dog on defense.
Carter Bryant and VJ Edgecombe from their draft, like personality, like getting to know them a little bit deeper, and then watching their basketball games. And I know it's just summer league. Those two guys are like, if you don't like those guys, man, you just don't like good people, dogs, and people that are gonna put in the work. And I love his promise going forward. And I think they just have a lot of versatility on what they can do with their lineup going forward with Sohan and Keldon Johnson. Like, they have contracts. They still have like a lot of their picks that they can give up if they really need to make a move. But no, they didn't need to make the KD move. They sat tight. They got Fox for like nothing.
Yeah.
They facilitated another trade and got a swap right on a first round pick. I like what San Antonio does. And this might be a bold take, but I think that within 3 NBA seasons, they will be contenders for the NBA championship.
I mean,
I think that they're on a trajectory maybe like Oklahoma City did from 3 years ago, where this year they make the playoffs. Next year they take their lump, which they go to the second round. And then I really think that they have a chance to win it all. And it could be Victor versus Chet, just like good old U19 USA basketball.
James, I'm with you. I think San Antonio has to make a move at some point to be a championship contender. And just like I gave the Magic crap earlier this pod for rushing it with KCP, I respect that San Antonio did not, because they made a big move during the season to get De'Aaron Fox. If Giannis requests a trade, they need to go all in on that. They need to give up. And I'm not saying that I'm looking at their team with what I think a package would center around. Jeremy Sohan, Keldon Johnson, draft picks, and you're giving up one of Vassell, Dylan Harper, or Stephon Castle. So you have a nucleus of Fox, Wemby, Giannis, and then the ones you didn't give up. So if you gave up Harper, you're keeping Castle. If you gave up Castle, you're keeping Harper. That's a team.
Why wouldn't you give up Fox?
What'd you say?
I'd rather give up Fox than Harper.
Because
I think that's no knock to Fox. I really like Fox. I'm talking about and we're talking about timeline with Wemby type of situation. Fox is a really good player.
But Wemby's already at the point in his like, he is such a unicorn that you could win a championship with him. Like,
it's also like the rest of the 28 teams are still going to be competing to get, if Giannis becomes available, everybody takes a look at their teams.
What teams have assets to give up Giannis?
Well, I just thought about, like, Houston still has Reed Shepherd.
Houston does.
Shingun. They still have Jabari. They still have Tari.
Reed Shepherd.
Yeah,
so Houston is one. I think OKC, if they really wanted to, but they wouldn't have the assets.
Oh, well, I don't see that.
The Spurs.
I mean, those are the main teams that I've thought about in that situation. But I mean,
so that's what I'm saying. 28 teams want Giannis. How many have the assets? Probably 3. And if you're taking away OKC, probably 2.
Regardless, love what San Antonio's doing. Watch out for them this season. I think they become at least a play-in team. The things that I don't like. I don't like what the Kings are doing.
No,
the Suns obviously are a muck. The Blazers get Dame, cool story. Drew, I don't see them making the
bad franchise.
And then Jazzes are like maybe the worst team in the entire NBA, and they maybe holding with Markkanen the biggest trade chip, which his value is lower than what it was in the past. So maybe they can pick that up and then, make another move.
They're trying to get 2 for Walker Kessler. Jazz are in a weird state because they signed Markkanen to a huge contract and could have flipped him for a huge return. But at the same time, they kept him, and now his value is tanked. And James, with all of the good teams we mentioned, this is why the Grizzlies should tank.
They won 48 games last year. Yeah,
Memphis?
With Desmond Bane. Yes.
Yeah, and now Desmond Bane is gone.
Okay, well, they were 1 win away from being the 3 seed, or 2 wins away from being the 3 seed. Like,
yeah, a lot of teams got better. They got worse.
Yeah, I guess we did mention this via text. I totally disagree. Just chill. I mean, not like they're a threat. I mean, but why? You're still the Memphis Grizzlies, okay? Which they've always been the Grizzlies, and they've always been in contention for the playoffs. That's just what they do. They're not going to tank. Sorry.
You know what?
That business. They're not into that business.
They
And the Bane trade did not signify, hey, what's going on in Memphis? It did not signify that. They're not going all in on taking. Hence why they signed Triple J to that big contract, which is a part of the reason why they had to get rid of Desmond Bane, because he had a big contract chip number.
Worst thing you can do in sports is just want to be 500 or float in mediocrity. It's what the Wizards did.
There's worse things that you can do.
What?
Whatever Chicago's doing.
That's mediocrity.
No, but that's way different. Like, it's just because Memphis is in the Western Conference. If they're in the Eastern Conference, they're like a top 3-4 seed. Like,
yeah, but
it's just,
but that's part of the game. That's part of. It's not like Memphis just magically ended up in the Western Conference. It's knowing your conference. There's no difference between going 39-43 in the East and going 48-34 in the West and being a play-in team. Record aside, where you stand in the conference doesn't change.
9-win difference.
But you're in the same point.
I disagree on the Memphis thing. Chicago. Oh, this might be our last couple of points that we're talking about. Giddey, unrestricted free agent Seville. There's 3 guys that are really good NBA players. They diversify, like, as far as the tiers. Josh Giddey's probably the best player out of there. He had the best overall season last year. What's holding him up from re-signing with Chicago, which I think that happens? Nobody has made a bid on him. So, like, I guess Chicago just doesn't see the market on it. And I mean, I don't know what team would really want to go all in and try to pry him away. And because typically in the past with restricted free agents, you have to make a certain number really high where the other team couldn't match it. Cam Thomas is one of the most potent scorers in our league. And the Nets suck. Why not bring him back? And then the weirdest one is the Kuminga conundrum. Kuminga conundrum in Golden State, where I see all of these guys kind of going back and then see what happens.
I think Kuminga is done in Golden State. Like, did you hear that the podcast that Looney and Kuminga went on? They're like local.
Did not.
One. Yeah. So I mean, they were talking about so for Looney, he was like, look, like, matchups like against Steven Adams, like, I dominate him. I've historically dominated him. And I was getting benched for that. And he's like, to me, they didn't trust me. Like, that was over. And then Kuminga was basically like, yeah, it's almost a guarantee I get traded at the deadline. Like, I'm going to start the season with Golden State, but then, like,
okay, that's how I could see that happening for sure. But
but I think with the second apron, like, now that we're in like 2 or 3 years of it, like, teams are getting used to it. Like, you're not going to sign an above average player that isn't a superstar to a superstar contract because it's going to hamstring you.
That's fair. Draft wise, what were that's fair. Draft wise, what were a pick that you really liked, a pick that you really hated? What were some guys that you thought, like, what the hell are they thinking? Or what were some guys where you were like, I like it, I like the fit. I mean, we've talked about some of these players, like, Trey Johnson. We've mentioned Derek Queen and Carter Bryant. We've mentioned some of these rookies. Baron J talked about. What do you like? I can start here. I'm going to go and say VJ Edgecombe is a home run pick for the 76ers. I think, Paul George, he's hurt. Like, he may have an outside chance of actually starting on this basketball team.
He probably will.
Like, ideally, you bring him off the bench and he's going to come in there and give you that defensive effort and then offensive pop. The city of Philadelphia is going to absolutely love him. And with the whole Ace Bailey BS happening, I think that they stumbled into a future really great chip going into the future. So I like the VJ. Fears, I have fears on what he's doing. And then, like, the Nets picks, I didn't really like. They had all these first round picks. I really didn't think that they were going to keep all of them. And then when they did, I didn't like the results of it. I didn't like what they got out of it. And like, are we, banging on, Danny Wolf and Traore and, obviously
James,
Igor Demon seemed like the biggest reach.
Yeah, I think that was a big reach. I like the Edgecombe pick. I already talked about Conknepple. Not a big fan of that at 4. Love Trey Johnson. I like the Jeremiah Fears pick for the Pelicans, but I just don't like what the Pelicans are doing.
Okay.
Yeah. To me, Kamen Maluak at 10 to Phoenix after they traded for Mark Williams. That to me didn't really make sense.
I do. They actually both had, like, collectively I think they're number 1 and 2 as far as like arm length and reach and wingspan. And then Mark Williams, I mentioned, and like he's already got question marks, and Maluach is very raw.
But then why did you trade for him?
He's a project because now you got 2 centers that you're going to work with on a team that's clearly rebuilding, but also around.
But then you signed Devin Booker to a big extension.
Because they were going to do that. I mean, that team is in purgatory anyways. But
that's what I mean. We can be cynical on that. I wouldn't have minded the pick if they like kept Nurkic or like if they just drafted him. But to go out and acquire 2 centers via a trade and via draft when centers are kind of outdated in the NBA, to me it was a little bit of a head scratcher.
I mean, I think they're very valuable in the NBA. Hence why Pirtle's getting $100 million. If you're a good caliber starting,
that's a bad move.
I agree, but that's the market price. Like that's
I mean, but look at OKC. OKC, the center was probably the least valuable position for them because they were subbing out Hartenstein in critical minutes.
I mean, he's still $87 million.
Yeah,
like that's his contract, and Chet is $250 million. So clearly, that was a valuable position.
Do you count Chet as a center though?
Yes.
Okay, I count him as a 4.
Okay, I mean, he
plays
a lot of 5.
And maybe this bites me in the butt a little bit, and I'm willing to take it. And James, you can use this receipt if you want.
I will. I can't wait it.
Walter Clayton, I think, was a little bit of a reach.
I like him. I love him. Thank you. We disagree. I love Walter Clayton.
Walter Clayton.
I don't like Utah with all their piling of the guards. And
I think
they're not sold on him.
I think he's going to be one of those great college guys that was an average pro that had a really good draft stock based on a March Madness run. A Shabazz.
Yeah, and I think he's going to be one of those. I think he's one of those great college players that get overlooked in drafts. And when you gotta get the player.
Shabazz Napier 2.0.
I would have been mad at the Nets taking him at 8. So boom, take that.
Shabazz Napier 2.0. Walter Clayton is 6'2". That's tough.
He's still probably the best movement shooter in the draft. Pick I hate Bulls. Noah Asomugbe. And that poster meme is just disgusting.
Yeah,
that is gonna live in infamy. But that's how I felt when they approached that pick. It's like just get Derek Queen and call it a day, and maybe the Pelicans, would have called you and you could have got a draft pick for next year, which would have made a lot more sense. You move back and at 23, then you get Asa Newell or Nick Clifford, who looks amazing. Nick Clifford looks like he's nice, but Sacramento's in limbo. They suck. Yeah. Anything else, my guy?
You think OKC repeats next year?
Yes.
I don't think so.
Okay. You'll take the field. I feel 50% on it.
Yeah.
Which is I guess it's a high number.
I think the only thing that we could point to as a potential Achilles heel for them is they were awful at shooting threes in the finals. If they had shot a slightly better percentage, and I think that's going to be their Achilles heel if they don't win next year.
Yeah. I mean, I could easily see them not winning. But
it's a little bit of hedging you do, James.
Well, yeah, I mean, because to say a team repeat, it's not like I don't know, the Kobe and Shaq Lakers, where it's like, all right, I really feel comfortable about this. Yeah.
Look at you, James.
I'm good at that.
Hedge in the bushes. Hedge in the bushes.
Yeah, but you're gonna ask me right now. That's Yeah, that's what I go with. I mean, it takes a lot of good luck. They were healthy mostly, other than Jalen Williams, who was dealing with this significant wrist injury. What a dog to drop 40 in the finals with that. He takes a step up. Chet's going to be taking steps and steps and steps up as he continues to bulk up and figure it out. This is like his first long-term playoff run. They got it all. I mean, they still got Hartenstein. They didn't have to make any moves. Caruso comes back, you know.
I mean, wow. You want to talk about the Bulls just blessing them a championship by saying, here, we'll give you a great defender, 3-and-D, which is exactly what you need. And we'll take Giddey, who you were struggling to identify if you were going to pay or not.
I mean, it was a good trade for Chicago.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was. They got Giddey for Caruso. It was doing nothing for them. How was that a bad trade for them?
Because
Giddey was good for them. No, yeah, how was that bad for Chicago? They got Josh Giddey for Caruso.
Yeah, Josh Giddey, to me, he's going to put up numbers. And I think he needed.
It made sense on both ends for me. I didn't think it was a bad trade.
But I think OKC could have had to pay a little bit more to get rid of Giddey because they weren't going to pay him. And Giddey is someone that needs the ball in his hands to be effective, which is what Chicago needed. But yeah, I mean, they got blessed.
Speaking of blessed, it's a blessing to see you today and get to talk some basketball face to face.
Oh, James.
To see if you were actually being sarcastic in the text, which I can't really read well like you do.
Me and James been doing this years.
You went through the whole pod without me having to say pause. Look at that. New year, new you.
I don't know. Just wait. It's early in the morning. That's why.
Oh, do you want to tell Keith and everyone that's listening, like, what was the final result of our fantasy basketball league? What happened? Or we save that for next year?
I don't know, James. You're continue to suck your own dick. There you go.
Hard pause. That's wild. Yo, you can't believe you said
Get those ribs removed so you can really get it.
Oh, my bad that you haven't won yet. 3-time champ. All right.
I mean, James just gets lucky. That's all I can say. Just gets lucky.
Yeah, like the DeJounte Murray injury and everything else. I got lucky.
Yeah, the man just gets lucky.
Amen Thompson just.
Oh yeah, James is getting gifted with guys just falling into
active on free agency. God forbid.
Yeah. Half our league sucks. That's why.
Yeah, that's your fault, Kamish. My league is all stacked with 1 seeds. You'd be lucky to get into playoffs in my league.
Put me in that league.
Yeah, I think that's what I got to do.
Yeah.
I think that's what I got to do. All right, my friend. Until next time. It's good chopping it up.
Always, James. Thank you for everybody that if you turned into minute 73 or you stayed all 73 minutes, we appreciate that.
Or just tuned in and all. We appreciate you. Until next time, until next year. Peace.